The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today, and first we're going to be talking with Glenda Carlisle. She's the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Center for Book at the Oklahoma Department of Libraries. I think that's the longest title I've ever had to recite.
Try saying the website, that's even longer.
Right. But you're here to talk about the Oklahoma Book Awards, which will actually take place next spring, but if you're a writer or know a writer, there's something you need to know about them now.
Well, we're almost up to the deadline this year, and this is actually the 18th Annual Book Awards. We've been doing this for 18 years, so that's, I hadn't even realized it was that long. But the deadline for submitting a book will be on January 7th, so that's coming up very, very quickly. In fact, it's actually January 5th. So that will be coming up very quickly when you think about we're in the middle of the Christmas season.
Right. Now, the books have to be written by somebody who's lived in Oklahoma or about Oklahoma, right?
That's true. Either they can have lived here, maybe they were born here, but they haven't lived here in a long time, or maybe they've just moved here. It doesn't matter what the length of time is that they've lived here, but they need to have lived here at some time, or the book have an Oklahoma theme.
Mm-hmm. And how many books do you usually get entered for the book awards?
We usually get around 120, something like that. Usually I have a goal of 100, and we usually surpass that goal. And I'm not real sure exactly. I stopped by the office yesterday for just a minute and saw that there were boxes and boxes to be opened. So I'd say we're probably about 3/4 of the way there.
Mm-hmm. Now, these books have to have been published in this year, 2006, correct?
Right.
And then now they can contact you. We can put up your phone number and your email address. If they have any questions, want to verify anything or get your mailing address, they can contact you via your phone or email, and you'll get back to them.
They certainly can. And they can actually get the entry form off the website if they want to, or I can send them an entry form. They do have to fill out an entry form. We have to have their signature and the information about the author and the publisher and the copyright date, that kind of information. So they do have to have an entry form.
Mm-hmm. And they actually have to send several books because we have judges for all of the different categories, which are?
Well, the categories are fiction, nonfiction, poetry, children, young adult, and design illustration. So we have 5 categories, and we have 5 judges in each category. And so they have to send in 6 books. The 6th book, after the contest is over, will be put in the Oklahoma room in the Department of Libraries. So one book will always remain in the Department of Libraries. And the others go to the 5 judges. And with the judges, we usually try to pick variety of people: librarians, booksellers, Center for the Book Board members, a writer in the genre that's in, and try to get a mixture of the authors, a mixture of male and female, and different parts of the state, and get a variety of judges.
Mm-hmm. And then in February, you will announce the finalists for each of those categories, won't you?
We will announce the finalist, and then on February 15th, the judges will actually meet and will discuss their finalist, and we'll come up with a winner, but we won't tell. We won't find out until the night of the Book Awards banquet, and that's when we will announce the winners.
Mm-hmm. And that's in early March, and they can find out about that also by contacting you. That is open to the public. Anybody who wants to pay the cost of the banquet can attend.
Right, and usually most all of the finalists come. We usually have about 30 finalists come, and they'll be there to sign their books, visit with people, and then we'll have the dinner and the award ceremony.
Mm-hmm. I think that informal visiting just prior to the banquet is probably the highlight of the evening, really, at least for everybody but the actual winner of the categories. But that gives you an opportunity, as you said, to chat with people. And it's always kind of neat to meet the person who's read a book that you really enjoyed.
And then the main speaker and main guest that night will be our Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And this year that will be Clifton Tolbert from Tulsa.
And usually that person gives a short talk about
Right.
what he's been up to and, in essence, why he got the
he's a-
Lifetime Achievement Award.
And he's a very interesting person.
So and you'll have an opportunity actually to meet him informally beforehand as well, because he will be there prior to the banquet.
That's true.
So we need to go over again. Anybody who's in Oklahoma and who's published a book this year, it has to be in the year 2006.
That's right.
Or even if you don't live here, if you have written about Oklahoma.
That's very true.
So, and we've had some pretty illustrious winners in the past, haven't we?
We have. We've had some winners that have live in Oklahoma now. One of the books that we're going to have entered this year, I think is going to be interesting, is John Grisham's book, which is for nonfiction. That'll be kind of interesting to see how he compares with the Oklahoma writers that are here right now, somebody of national acclaim like that. But we've had Michael Wallace and Bob Burke and so many Oklahomans that live here all the time and are nationally famous.
Well, I was thinking of Carolyn Hart. I think
Carolyn Hart, of course.
She's won
And
both
that's
the Oklahoma Book Awards and the Lifetime Achievement, and
Billy Letts.
Billy Letts and Rilla Askew. And actually, a number of finalists or winners of the book award have been part of the Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma six-pack every year as well.
That's right.
So this is, even if you can't attend the banquet, if you can follow along in the newspaper or whatever, and you'll be on to talk about the winners shortly after the banquet. These are always good suggestions for reading. The finalists, even in past years, if you're looking for gifts for your kids or your grandchildren or whatever at Christmas time, find out who the finalists have been the last couple of years and pick up their books.
That's true. That's very true. And a lot of the finalists will come back, or a lot of the past winners will come back for the book awards too. Rilla Askew usually comes back, and a lot of them like that. That even though they live out of state, will come back for that evening.
Well, it's a neat evening, and we want to remind people again that they can call you or send you an email to find out either about entering a book in the Oklahoma Book Awards, or they can also find out the date of the Oklahoma Book Awards banquet and make arrangements if they would like to just come and meet some writers.
That's true.
So, thanks very much, Glenda, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of months ago, I got a chance to talk with Janet Brooks from our Materials Selection Department, and she shared with me a few thoughts on how to encourage teenagers to read. I think you'll enjoy what she had to say. Janet, you didn't bring any books today.
No, but I'm talking about reading. And
Good.
I've done several times before how important it is to get children to read and read for fun. There was a study that came out early this summer called Kid and Family Reading Report. It was put out by the Scholastic Publishing Company. And what it did, it was surveyed children ages 5 to 17 and their parents, and they found out that children spend less time reading for fun as they get older. Some terrible statistics. 40% of kids between ages 5 to 8 are considered high-frequency readers. They're reading at least every day. 29% of the kids ages 9 to 11 are high-frequency readers, so it's almost half as many kids. And it goes drastically down there as the kids get into their teen years. The study also shows that parents have a direct impact on their kids,
Yeah.
by their attitudes and the behaviors, but they also have, they demonstrate to the kids the importance of reading and so forth. Parents are very good at helping younger kids pick out bedtime stories and things like that, but they need to be active participants in helping their children choose books as they get older. And
That's tricky to do if you're dealing with a teen.
it
isn't
is, but there are several ways. You can listen to what they're interested in, recommend books that they are interested in, but also you can take advantage of the wide world of information, the library, but also the internet. There's tons of websites that have teen recommended titles. There are library websites, Amazon.com. If you know that your child loves one type of book, you can go on there and they will recommend other titles. We have databases here at our library called Novel List that will lead you to more books like it. Get your kids involved in reading book clubs. There are book clubs at bookstores, libraries have book clubs. You can start your own book club with your neighbors, your friends who have kids the same age. Watch a movie, read the book. You know, Hoot just came out last spring, was it? What's coming up next is How to Eat Fried Worms, which is based on a book. I just watched last night, all because of Winn-Dixie. You know, read the book, watch the movie, make a connection with the kids. Check out CDs, books on CDs. You put them in the car when you travel. Put a backpack together with books in it for your kids for when you're going to the park or something. So there's just tons of ways that parents can get their kids involved and get them excited about reading and reading frequently, which is going to help them in the long run.
Great. Thanks for that wonderful advice, Janet. Coming up next, we have MJ Vandevender of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be talking with Jim Talbert of the Full Circle Bookstore about one of his favorite books.
Welcome, Mr. Talbot.
Thank you, ma'am. It's always a delight to be here.
Nice to have you back again.
I like it.
Great. And you're reading The Foreign Correspondent, which sounds like a wonderful thriller, a mystery, intrigue, spies, all of that.
All of that, and more, really. Alan Furst is, I think, the best writer of historical fiction and with a thriller and romance element involved about World War II.
And this is set in Paris?
In this case, it's set in Paris. They aren't all, but this one is set in Paris. It's about an Italian emigre who was forced out of Italy with the rise of Mussolini in 1938. He comes to Paris and he's a newspaper man, gets a job with Reuters as a foreign correspondent, and gets involved with the emigre community in producing an underground newspaper to be shipped back to Italy to give the Italians what he views as the truth. And with this act, then he becomes a combatant in the war, in effect.
Oh, really?
And this is the story of that period of time when he was doing this. It's remarkable in the sense that you feel very much, as much like you're there as anything of this kind I've ever encountered.
Is it a true story?
No, it's not a true story.
Not a true story.
And he has written, Alan Furst has now written 9 or 10 of these, set from 1938 to 1946, generally in Europe and always with some involvement with Paris probably. Each with a different character, each an entirely different story, all about people who were not of heroic proportions and didn't necessarily do heroic things, but who survived and made their contribution. And they're wonderful stories.
Well, it sounds like a really fascinating book. And of course, I will love to read it because I love anything about the field of journalism and writing and all of that.
And that's very much a part of this. And the reason that writers write, and particularly journalists, feel compelled to write. It's written on 2 or 3 levels, as often these are. One is just pure history, and one is a love story. And the rest is more
And there's a murder too, isn't there?
And there's at least one murder, actually there's several. and there is it's his connection to the world as it was then. And it's very hard for us to visualize the tension that was part of everyday life, even in France in 1938, about what was coming. And every side had their own espionage going on in Paris. And so it was a very convoluted environment and a very insecure environment.
Well,
it's
it sounds like a
fascinating.
fascinating book.
It really is.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
with
for
us
asking
today.
me.
Glenda Carlisle is back, and she is in her other persona as a writer. And actually, you have just completed a trilogy. You've been on before to talk about the first 2 books in that trilogy, which are Buckskin, Calico, and Lace. And the second one was,
Petticoats, Politics, and Pirouettes.
and all three of the books are being released to celebrate the centennial, right?
That's true. They've all been approved by the Centennial Commission, and the first two are being republished by New Forum Press, with an addition of 3 other women to each of the first 2. And then the third was supposed to be here this last week, but it is not quite here yet, but it will be here any day. And it is the one for Oklahoma women from 1950 to present day. And it is the astronauts, athletes, and ambassadors.
And what prompted you to start writing about women in Oklahoma?
Well, that's a good question. I wanted to write about Oklahoma. And actually, I guess it was George Nye, probably. I was talking to him about writing about Oklahoma in some way. And he said, well, you need to feature a certain aspect. Not much has ever been written about the women. And I thought, that is really so true. So really what I have done is to concentrate on the women, both in my books that I've written and the programs that I do.
Mm-hmm. So now you do a program, people can get in touch with you and you'll come to a book group or the Daughters of the American Revolution or whatever, and actually you dress in costume, don't you?
I dress in costume and I use hats to talk about the different women, which has been really kind of fun because it was a lot easier to do on the first 2, because I used the pioneer hat and the socialite hat and the Indian and the women of the evening and those type of hats. But you know, from 1950 to today, a lot of women don't wear hats.
That's true. That's very true.
We really don't wear that many hats. And so I like to kind of start out with the fact that they're all pioneers. So we still start out with the pioneer. Webster's definition of a pioneer is someone who goes ahead and prepares a path for others. Mm-hmm. And so whether she was an astronaut, as Shannon Lucid or Jerry Cobb, or whether she was even Carrie Underwood as one of the youngest of the singers that is out there preparing the way for others. They're all pioneers. So I still use that, and I still use some of the other hats, even going as far as to use my daughter's Sooner hat for Alma Wilson, who was a judge but loved her Sooners. And so we have lots of, still kind of a variety of hats that talk about the different women.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, with a lot of these women, you are completely unable to interview them, but have you been able to interview most of them that you have in your books?
I've had some wonderful interviews. I was able to interview Jean Kirkpatrick in her office in Washington, D.C., and of course, she just passed away this last week. And but that was a really interesting interview that I had with her. Mayzola McCurson, who's a black mayor in Ardmore, was the first mayor of a town of the size of Ardmore that was a predominantly white town. She was a really fascinating interview. And Donna Nye and just many others from all different aspects that we've had some really fun interviews.
Mm-hmm. Now, you don't just base it on interviews. You do a fair amount of research for these people. A lot of research.
A lot of research. We're fortunate that the Historical Society has quite a lot of interviews there, and we also do at the Department of Libraries, and the Metro Library has a good research library, but I did a lot of it really from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries, the Oklahoma room there. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of files, and even if it was Reba McEntire. I did have a wonderful telephone interview with Reba McEntire. She's as natural to talk with as what she appears to be on television. But they have just huge files of newspaper clippings and things like that about them, and so it was really quite interesting. Clara Luper, they have quite a large file about her. She was a very interesting interview. Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you gather a great deal more information than you can use, so I imagine a very difficult part is which part of it do you use in all of these?
Very true, very true. Some really interesting stories about all of them, and I just try to pick out what I think appeals to me and so would appeal to the reader rather than all just plain historical things. Wilma Mankiller, I mean, you could write just page and pages on the things that she's done, but it's much more interesting to write about what kind of a childhood she had and what kind of what it was like for her to be the first chief of the Cherokee Nation, and what kind of things her family went through for her to have that kind of a position, that when the Cherokees had never had a woman chief before. So those kind of things I think are more interesting than just a straight bio about the people.
Now, when you're doing your programs, do you actually do the program as you're writing about these people, or do you wait till the book is finished and then you say, these are the things that I think would be really neat in the program?
I guess as I'm doing it, I'm kind of thinking of some of those things, but mainly after it's all finished, to go back and find what are the things that I think are the interesting things.
So you just pull out enough to get everybody interested in the book.
Very true, very true. I think it's interesting for things like that are little known, such as when Jerry Cobb was selected as the first female astronaut, then Congress had to get in on it and decide if they should have a female astronaut. And she says in her book that John Glenn testified that that men are the ones who should be pilots and fight the wars, and the women are the ones who stay home. And I mean, I think that's John Glenn probably might not like to hear me say that, but but Jerry said that in her book, was that what he had testified. So I like little things like that maybe are not widely known.
Right. Well, when you've been doing the interviews for this last book, though, when you come across something, you think, now that's something I really need to remember to put in the program?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Start thinking in my mind, now what kind of a hack could we use for that?
And then you remember it's the late 20th century and there are no hacks.
Right.
So you actually sort of take on the persona of one or more of the people that you're talking about in the book.
I do, and I sometimes make programs of just that person, such as Kate Bernard. I do a program on just Kate Bernard, and I do a program on just Pearl Mesta. And so sometimes I pick out people from the book and just do a program oriented just around that one person. And then sometimes it's around all the different ones that are in the book.
Well, this is a really neat collection. I mean, you've got 3 books about Oklahoma women, and you start in the early days of the Oklahoma Territory,
Right.
and work your way up. So this, I think, would be something that would appeal to almost anybody who's interested in Oklahoma history.
I think so, and I have people that like to buy them for their parents because they think their parents can remember a lot of those days and will enjoy them, and school children. They're short stories. The kids can use them to write a report about someone, and they want their children to learn some about Oklahoma history. And a lot in the history books has not been written about the women.
Yeah, they get pretty much glossed over. You get mentioned as, and the mother of so-and-so was, and then so-and-so went on to do.
Right.
So, now, you also have illustrations, photographs in a lot of the books too,
I have
right?
a lot of photographs, and the illustrator for the covers has been the same one for each one of the 3, and that was a young man that I met several years ago that went to my church and does some illustrating, named Mark Herndon, and he's been with me through all 3 of the books.
Well, that gives them a really nice consistency. I mean, they obviously look like a part of a set, even though the covers are different. So now people will very shortly be able to find your book in bookstores. It will be available at the library, but they can actually contact New Forums Press.
They can contact New Forums Press, yes, or they can even contact me, and I can make sure that they can get a signed copy.
Okay, but I think we have
So-
the website of the New Forums Press, and
Right.
You have your own page on the website, right?
Yes.
So they can find out a little bit more about it that way. So, okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, Glenda, for being here with us to talk about athletes, ambassadors, and I'm sorry, astronauts.
Astronauts.
Athletes and ambassadors.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I do the same thing.
But they can find that shortly. Petticoats, Politics, Pirouettes, and Buckskin Calico and Lace are available now, but very shortly all three of them will be out, and it would be a great Christmas gift or a Celebrate Oklahoma gift.
Right.
Thanks very much, Glenda, for being with
Thank you.
us.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug Benton is with me now. That means it's Writer's Almanac time, and you must have a date.
I do. I have a couple of writers this week. My primary writer, my featured writer for the week, was born on December 18th in 1870. He was a man named Hector Hugh Monroe, better known by his pen name of Saki, which was a character in the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, and he used that as his pen name. He was actually a Scot, although he was born in Burma, and I think he was one of the best second-tier short story writers from England. He was constantly satirizing Edwardian society. He really didn't have much use for it. And several of his stories are a little on the macabre side and cruel, actually. Some of them are. He did not like women particularly. In fact, he didn't like anybody. He wasn't even very fond of himself. He didn't take himself very seriously either. But when the First World War broke out, although he was way too old, he went ahead and enlisted as a common soldier. And it said that his last words were in a shell crater. His last words were, "Put that damn cigarette out." I assume it was making too much light, and then he was shot. And my other writer for the week, December 21st, the birthday of Benjamin Disraeli, who was not only Prime Minister of England, but a father of the political novel.
Ah, yes. Well, speaking of politics, on December 23rd, 1948, a certain former Japanese prime minister and several of his top leaders were executed for war crimes that they had been committing for the past 7 or 8 years. So, speaking of politics, you can find out about what we've been talking about and everything else today by visiting your favorite library or going to our website, www.metrolibrary.org. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.